Hey, my name is Ryan, and this is a response to a question in my comments from SHVIIIN, I believe. Thanks for asking. He asked how I feel about natalism, pro-natalism, anti-natalism, the morality and ethics involved in it. And so this is my response for now, why I can only make 10-minute videos. I'm pro-natalist, 100%. Not, well, with exceptions. I don't think everyone should be breeding, and I think if you're in a community that's unable to feed itself, uh, you should be more focused on figuring out that than bringing more children into the world. That being said, I generally think people should procreate. If you look at any kind of animal or any kind of life form, from algae to scorpions to chimpanzees, the purpose of their lives is to procreate and continue the species on. That's their job in life. And there's other things that they do along the way. They have to, dig a burrow. They have to find food. They might have to pick bugs off each other and eat them. But in the end, their job's to procreate. And I think that's the job of most humans too. But not every single one. Dysgenics is as real as eugenics, and just as scary. The idiocracy is a real possibility for humanity, and it's not a great one. That being said, I don't think we need to swing to the extreme in either way. I don't think it's, we should never have to like force people to have babies. Not everyone should necessarily be a parent. But at the same time, like, this whole nobody have babies in the West is not working out real well. Population is collapsing worldwide mostly because of politics. And that's really where the problem lies. The problem isn't whether to have babies or not. I think most people want to have babies. Even I my biggest regret is not having children. I don't see it happening in my future, and that's okay. I'm at peace with it. It's not like a constant weight on my shoulders, but it's something that's definitely not a positive in my life. But the politics is the problem. The politicians who are robbing us, who are micromanaging us to death with bureaucracy, who institute government policies like open borders, which hyperinflates property prices and rental prices while lowering wages or stopping them from rising along with inflation, or the increase in inflation, the devaluing of jobs, your labor. All these things are government policies. And just like the rat experiment with drugs, there's the rat utopia experiment where they made everything perfect for the rats. They filled the thing up with babies, and then that becomes a problem eventually, right? But that's in a very simple enclosed environment with rats. We're people. We should be better than that and be able to do better than the rat utopia experiment. The anti-natalist movement I find to be very unethical and immoral, although I do believe that they're coming from a good place. Oftentimes, not always. There's some of them who are very, who I think just have just rotten inside. But a lot of them I think mean well. They're looking at the rat utopia experiment and going, oh my God, that's horrible. We need to not let that happen. And you want to have a planet that your grandkids can live on. And a lot of them think that if we just keep breeding, that will not be a positive experience for future generations. So I understand where they're coming from. I just think they're wrong. What needs to happen is that humans need to be less destructive and stop, learn to live a little bit better, a little bit less consuming. And that's, it's ironic that a lot of the people who are anti-natalist want unlimited immigration into the U.S., not realizing that if we let 2 billion people come to the United States, if we don't collapse into, an apocalypse, and let's say everything goes really well, we absorb 2 billion people and we build enough housing for them, and it creates enough jobs, and which is it, none of that's going to happen in those circumstances. But even if it did, we would quickly destroy the planet if we made 2 billion people and allowed them to live like Americans do. You just consume too much. You waste too much. There's just not enough stuff. There's not enough sand for the concrete. If you made 2 billion people on Earth start living like Americans instead of living like people do in the third world. So to say that you don't want the planet to be destroyed by overpopulation and then bring billions of people to the first world to become first worlders and destroy the planet, it just doesn't make any rational sense. Getting Westerners to be, it's not like we have to live in mud huts and eat the bugs, and that's not what I'm talking about. But being a little bit more reasonable in our consumption would go a lot farther than restricting breeding in humans. But at the same time, like, which humans? Because quite frankly, like, there's plenty of babies being born on the planet in some places, like Nigeria. The problem is that it's a complete train wreck and they can't feed themselves. And most of the population growth right now happening in the world is in third world countries where foreign countries are providing food aid. We're feeding them so they can have more babies who then need to be fed because their society is not creating enough money to buy food or enough food. So we're just creating more poverty and more suffering. And eventually the gig's going to be up and we're going to have to withdraw aid because our economy collapses, or there's going to be a major weather event to where global grain production drops by 30%, or, a new potato blight affects grain around the world. And all of a sudden, there's not enough food to go around, and we're going to see another mass starvation event in Africa. Because people thought it was a good idea to create more people who can't feed themselves. But if you're talking about people in countries, particularly in the West, East Asia, the Western world, countries that are doing well and can feed their people and are on a decent path as a society, you should be having babies. It's awesome. It's what you're meant to do. It's what most of us are meant to do. And we need it for society and for the future. We need smart people in societies that function having babies. And that goes for Japan. Dear God, start having kids. And that goes for westernized Americans. It's what life's about, and it's one of the most rewarding things. And yeah, we all know parents that are exhausted and tired and stressed, and really the big problem right now is the financial situation in America. It all goes back to the government. It all goes back to greedy politicians getting rich once they get into office, shoving money in their pockets, shoving money in their friends' pockets, blowing money on their ideology, and just so they can get votes, and making America such a financial, dysfunctional financially, that people can't afford to have kids. And if people can't afford to have kids, they're not going to if they have any sense to them. Yeah, they will in Kinshasa. They'll keep having kids regardless. But in the Western world, you need an economy that makes it possible. People need to be able to feed their kids and pay their bills, or they're not going to have kids. So we need to stop electing corrupt and incompetent professional scumbags to office. We need plumbers. We need doctors. Maybe school teachers that aren't so crazy as some of them we're seeing on the news. But regular people who have regular jobs, who want to take 2 or 3 or 4 years off of their plumbing job to go work in Washington, D.C. for the American people. Not these people who make a living out of it. A living, and they got to constantly make deals and be slime bags so they can get to the next level of office, so they can keep up the charade. That's our natalism problem right there. And it's the same thing in Japan. It's the same thing in America. It's the same thing in Norway. It's all the same thing. We got a government problem. It needs to be fixed. Thanks for asking your question, buddy. I hope this was a good answer. Keep them coming. Hit like, share, subscribe, comment. Thank you. I appreciate everybody watching. God bless you.